8-year-old girl's life-changing act of kindness for a pregnant stranger revealed an incredible hope. In the middle of a bustling suburban neighborhood, where lawns shimmered in the sun and happy chatter filled the air, Lucy Thompson stood out like a sunflower in a field of grass. At just 8 years old, she was a radiant heart, lighting up her modest home, where laughter echoed through small rooms filled with Grandma May's delicious cooking and love. But shadows loomed. Life had dealt Lucy a tough hand. Her mother's struggle with addiction had left deep scars, and it was now Grandma May who carried the weight of raising her. They faced hardships, the kind that squeezed tight when money felt scarce, yet somehow their home remained warm. One crisp afternoon, Lucy bounded home from school, her backpack bouncing against her back. But today, her vibrant spirit dimmed when she spotted a pregnant woman sitting alone on the curb. Lucy noticed the way the woman clutched her belly, her face twisting with worry. Something about her sadness tugged at Lucy's heart, and without a second thought, she approached, pulling a simple chocolate bar from her pocket, all she had from her meager allowance. "Hi. I thought you might like this," Lucy said, handing it over with a smile that said, "You're not alone." The woman's eyes widened. "Thank you," she whispered, taking a shaky breath. Surreal connection blossomed between them, as Lucy learned the woman was named Sarah. Sarah opened up, revealing her struggles as a single mother in a world that often felt too big and overwhelming. Lucy listened, her heart aching for Sarah's burdens. In that moment, Lucy became a small anchor of hope for the troubled woman. But at home, things began to shift. Grandma May watched warily as Lucy spent more time helping Sarah. "You don't know her, Lucy. She could bring trouble," Grandma warned, her brow furrowed with concern. Lucy felt the tug of loyalty to her grandmother battling against her own fierce belief in kindness. In their small kitchen, tension simmered like the pots on the stove. Couldn't her grandmother see that sometimes love meant crossing boundaries? Outside, whispers from the neighbors danced like autumn leaves brushing against each other. Some judged harshly, while others rallied in support of Sarah. Lucy felt the community subtly shifting, a mirror reflecting both compassion and judgment. But just when it seemed their little friendship was carving a place for itself, a crisis hit hard. The rumors swirled, the tone in town shifted perilously, leaving Sarah vulnerable and Lucy watching helplessly as the shadows loomed even darker. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Lucy stood at the crossroads of innocence and awareness, she could feel the weight of the world pressing down. Her little heart ached with the gravity of Sarah's plight, the weight of societal expectations pulling her in all directions. Would her brave choices lead to understanding, or might they unravel everything she held dear? Night fell around her, and with it came the uncertainty of what tomorrow might bring. Lucy was left quietly trembling on the edge of a decision that could change everything for her, for Sarah, and for Grandma May. What would she choose, a divided world or one united by compassion? The next morning, a thick haze of worry filled the air as Lucy trudged to school. Each step seemed heavier than the last, her heart weighed down by the shadows swirling around Sarah. The bright sun, normally a source of comfort, felt muted somehow, clashing with the dread nestled deep inside her. In the bustling hallways of school, Lucy tried to join her friends, but their laughter felt distant, like the faint melodies of a song she couldn't quite remember. They chatted about birthday parties and new toys, while Lucy's thoughts lingered back on the curb where she'd met Sarah. She wished her grandmother could see how much her small act of kindness mattered. During lunch, Lucy sat quietly, picking at her peanut butter sandwich. Her eyes flicked to the table where Sarah had once sat, glowing with hope. But now there was only emptiness, as if a piece was missing. When her friend Mia plopped down across from her, a vibrant bundle of chatter, Lucy forced a smile. What's wrong, Lucy? You look like you just saw a ghost. Mia joked, unaware of the storm in Lucy's heart. Just thinking, Lucy murmured, glancing around, half eager for news of Sarah, a name that felt heavier with each passing moment. After school, she gathered the courage to visit Sarah, hoping to bring a little light to their shared darkness. As she approached Sarah's small apartment, the same knot of fear twisted in her stomach. She knocked lightly on the door, heart racing in anticipation. "Who is it?" came Sarah's tired voice from inside. "It's Lucy. I brought you something." She pushed through the door before Sarah could answer, determination flooding her cheeks. The sight before her was overwhelming. The room was dimly lit, the air heavy with neglect. Dishes piled in the sink, and clothes lay strewn across the floor. Sarah sat on the worn couch, her eyes red-rimmed, worry etched deeply into her face. "Lucy." Sarah sighed, a soft wave of confusion and surprise washing over her features. "I brought you some food from my house," Lucy said, holding out a few granola bars and an apple she'd snitched from Grandma May's kitchen. "I needed to see if you were okay." For a moment, Sarah's expression shifted, vulnerability cracked open with gratitude. "You didn't need to do this," she whispered, placing a hand over her swelling belly. "I know, but I wanted to," Lucy replied, feeling brave enough to step closer. "You shared your story with me, I want to help." Tears glimmered in Sarah's eyes, washed away by a wave of emotions. "You're an incredible girl," she said softly. "No one has ever been so kind to me." But just then, a sudden loud knock shattered the moment. Lucy's heart leaped into her throat. Sarah's expression turned fearful, the sharp reality of her circumstances making the air feel electric. "Sarah?" A gruff voice came from outside, a voice mixed with authority and judgment. "Open up, we need to talk." Lucy froze, every instinct pulling her to hide. But she couldn't move, rooted in her desire to protect Sarah, to shield her from whatever was looming at that door. This moment felt like a rupture, a pivotal intersection where chaos could easily unravel all their attempts to hold together. They both knew who it could be. But Lucy also knew that with hope came the great unknown. Would this moment bond them stronger or tear them further apart? As the door rattled again, uncertainty hung thick in the air, and Lucy felt the weight of a choice that had never felt more crucial. What would happen next? Would courage hold together against the storm at their doorstep? Lucy squeezed her eyes shut, willing the pounding in her chest to quiet. She could feel the tension rippling through Sarah, a mirror of her own fear and worry. The unforgiving knock echoed again, sending chills down her spine. "Lucy, you need to hide," Sarah urged, her voice barely above a whisper. The desperation in it sliced through Lucy's heart like a knife. She backed away instinctively when Sarah gestured toward a small closet near the door. "No, I can't leave you," Lucy protested, her hands trembling. The thought of abandoning Sarah felt wrong, as if she were running from a battle that was as much hers as it was Sarah's. Another knock, louder this time, shook the fragile silence. "Sarah! Open this door or I'm coming in." The voice boomed with authority, resonating like a battle cry. "Please, just go. I can handle this, I need you safe," Sarah pleaded, the shadows of fear morphing her usually soft features into a mask of concern. Lucy's heart raced, weighing the significance of her presence against the potential danger lurking just outside. But what if it's the social worker? Then they'll see what I need and I can't let them see you here. "Please," Lucy, with a final gaze. Lucy felt tears prick the corners of her eyes. The sorrow in Sarah's voice tugged at her, but she knew she had to listen. Reluctantly, Lucy slipped into the closet, crouching down and wrapping her arms around her knees. She held her breath, her heart drumming loudly in the silence surrounding her. From her tiny hiding space, Lucy could see the faint light under the door as it slowly creaked open. Shadows danced across the floor, and a heavy step interrupted the quiet. Then came the tension-filled silence, followed by Sarah's hesitant voice. "What do you want?" Sarah asked, each word tremulous. The person on the other side cleared their throat, frustration clashing with authority. You know why I'm here. Your neighbors are concerned. They called about noises, about your condition. Lucy's stomach twisted at the implications hiding beneath those words. There was an underlying shame lurking in that voice, an indictment of Sarah's situation. Just give me some more time. I'm handling things, Sarah said softly. Lucy leaned in closer, trying to catch every nuance of her voice, desperate to lend support even from her concealed spot. Time isn't what you need, the voice shot back. You need help. You and your baby. The echoed response hung in the air like an unwanted truth. Lucy buried her head in her arms, struggling against the painful reality of vulnerability and helplessness. She wanted to leap out, to scream that they didn't understand Sarah, that Sarah was stronger than they knew. After a moment of silence, the tension began to crack. You can't deny the situation, Sarah, the voice insisted gently this time. We're trying to help you. With a deep breath, Lucy strained to listen, sensing the shift. But Sarah remained silent. Did she feel it too? The weight of expectation pressing down like a heavy blanket. After what felt like hours, Lucy heard Sarah's quiet murmur. I'll think about it. The door clicked shut, the heaviness lingering like a fog. Lucy dared to peek out from her hiding place and caught a glimpse of Sarah's exhausted face, marred by tears and the sheer weight of the moment. When their eyes met, a moment of understanding passed between them, a fierce determination ignited within Lucy. She couldn't allow fear to silence them. Sarah, I'm here for you, Lucy whispered, stepping out of the shadows, steeling her resolve. But just as she opened her mouth to speak again, the door burst open. Another figure, much more menacing, hovered in the doorway. Time seemed to freeze as the reality of the moment crashed over Lucy. Now it was Sarah who looked terrified. Lucy, get back. Sarah shouted, pushing Lucy behind her, a shield against the unknown. Suddenly, the stakes had risen, and the walls of their sanctuary felt like they were closing in. What threat loomed behind that door, and could they really face it together? Lucy's heart raced, knowing she had to summon every ounce of courage she had. But would courage be enough to withstand whatever came next? Lucy stood frozen as the towering figure filled the doorway, blocking out most of the light. Adrenaline surged through her, a mix of instinct and fear gripping her chest. She wanted to wrap her arms around Sarah, to create a barrier of safety in their shaky world, but Sarah's voice rang loud and clear. Stay back, Lucy. The newcomer had a broad, imposing frame, and their expression was unreadable. Sarah, you need to come with me, the figure said, voice deep and authoritative. They stepped inside, just as Lucy's mind screamed the word to run. Who are you? Sarah demanded, gripping the edge of the door frame, her knuckles whitening. You can't just barge. I'm from the Family Services Department, the figure interrupted, shaking his badge as if it were a sword. We're here to ensure the safety of you and your child. Lucy felt something crack in the air. An unbearable tension stretched between Sarah's defiance and the figure's unwavering stance. The fear hung thick, but beneath it, she sensed an ember of wavering hope. Was this the help they so desperately needed? Or merely another chapter in a painful story that seemed never-ending? Please, just leave us alone, Sarah replied, struggling to hold her ground. I don't need you barging in like this. The figure took a step closer, their presence looming like a storm cloud. That's not what I've been told. You're at risk. The neighbors care about you, and so do we. But you have to cooperate. You have a baby to think about. The weight of those words hung between them, oppressive. Lucy felt sick. She could see Sarah's eyes, wide with anger and fear, struggling to forge a path through the confusion. Lucy wanted to scream. She wanted the world to understand that Sarah wasn't weak, she was fighting so hard every single day. Sarah, Lucy whispered, stepping closer, daring to speak. What if it is for the best? What if they can help? Don't, Lucy. Sarah shot back, her voice edged with desperation. But Lucy saw it then, a flicker of doubt in Sarah's eyes. Before anyone could say anything more, the figure made his move. I can help you, but you need to trust me. There was a softness behind the authority, a glimmer of compassion that cut through the heavy air. Trust? I don't even know who you are. Sarah spat, her voice shaking. But Lucy felt something shift, a whisper of hope started to bloom. Maybe deep down, Sarah knew this person was trying to help. They needed a solution, a lifeboat in their stormy sea. Let me call someone who can explain, he urged, tone calming. You don't have to do this alone. But something broke in Sarah at that moment, the weight of exhaustion came crashing down on her like a wave. I've always been alone. She shouted, words tearing from her. From the closet where Lucy stood, her heart ached for Sarah's pain. Look, I know it feels overwhelming right now, but it doesn't have to be. I can show you there are people who care, who can help. Suddenly, the battle seemed less about authority and defiance and more about the relationship between those words and how they could impact a life. Lucy squeezed her eyes shut again, wishing hard for the right outcome to appear. Just then, from a distance, the sound of sirens echoed through the streets, jarring and insistent. A reminder that time was running out, that decisions needed to be made. Please, the figure urged. Let us get you to safety. Together. As Sarah hesitated, weighing her fear against a fervent desire for change, Lucy held her breath. Would Sarah take that step towards hope, or retreat deeper into the shadows? Watching the battle raging in her friend's eyes, Lucy knew one thing: the moment of truth was approaching. Would they choose to fight or flee? In that suspended moment, standing together at the edge of an uncertain future, every ounce of Lucy's being screamed for the courage they all needed. And then the question bubbled to the surface: what would Sarah choose when everything that mattered was on the line? The sirens grew louder, shaking the stillness of their small home. Sarah's chest heaved as she weighed her options, torn between instinct and a flickering hope she had long buried. The figure, still looming in the doorway, had lowered their badge, a gentler urgency now visible in their eyes. It felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. Sarah, Lucy said softly, stepping completely out of the shadows. You can't keep living in fear. If this person is here to help, maybe it's worth listening. The tension crackled. Sarah turned to Lucy, her expression shifting from defiance to vulnerability. And what if I can't trust him? What if he takes us away? Her voice quivered, reflecting the tumult of emotions crashing inside her. We'll figure it out together, Lucy urged, reaching for Sarah's hand. I believe in you whether you see it or not. You're stronger than you think. You fought so hard, and maybe this could be a part of your fight. I'm right here. The figure remained still, watching their exchange, but something in his demeanor softened further, as if the weight of their words was settling in. Lucy caught a glimpse of compassion in his stance, a promise lingering between them: if they took that step, they wouldn't be alone. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper, her eyes glassy with impending tears. What if I end up failing my baby? Then you learn from it, Lucy replied, her own heart pounding. But you won't know unless you try. You owe it to yourself and your child to take that risk. The sirens blared in the background, punctuating the heavy silence. Time felt like it was creeping in, and yet a decision needed to be made. Sarah turned back to the figure, who stood patiently, respect etched on his face. What is going to happen? Sarah asked, the fight slowly draining from her voice. We will make a plan, the figure said gently. We'll explore all your options. But first, I need you to trust that we have your best interests at heart. You're not alone in this. A long moment passed. The air thickened with tension and uncertainty. Lucy could see it clearly, the seeds of hope pushing against the concrete walls that had long surrounded Sarah. Would she let that hope in? Finally, with a deep breath, Sarah nodded. All right. Lucy felt a surge of relief wash over her. Just then, the figure smiled an actual smile, warm and reassuring. It cut through the shadows, a promise of support. "Let us start with just a conversation. You don't have to decide everything now," he assured, gesturing toward the living room. The space felt smaller but somehow more welcoming, with the potential for new beginnings lurking in every corner. They turned to step inside, Lucy's heart racing with cautious optimism. As they moved toward the couch, Lucy's mind raced with thoughts of how they would tackle this mountain together, each minute a piece of the puzzle. But then, the sound of emergency vehicles pulled sharply into focus, interrupting the fragile moment of ascent. They had issues that demanded immediate attention, but looming uncertainties hung like clouds overhead. "Please don't let them take my baby," Sarah whispered, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. Lucy's heart sank. She wrapped her arms around Sarah, grounding them both. "They won't take her. We'll protect her. Trust me." As they settled into a circle of tentative hope, Lucy's thoughts churned. How could they navigate these waters filled with turmoil and fear? What would the next steps look like? And as they sat, confronted by their new reality, one piece of truth became evident: beyond the doorway lay a storm waiting to happen, and this was only the beginning of their fight for a brighter tomorrow. Would they be able to face what lay ahead, or was the weight of the past too much to bear? Sarah sank into the couch, feeling its familiar upholstery against her body, but it felt different, somehow more confining, more treacherous in that moment. The situation was pressing. The sirens outside seemed to invade their sanctuary, mingling with the chaos swirling inside her mind. Lucy remained close, her grip firm on Sarah's hand, a steady anchor amid swirling doubts. She glanced at the figure, whose demeanor now seemed almost paternal, eyes filled with understanding and a patience that spoke volumes. "Let us talk about things," he said again, his voice low and soothing as he sat down across from them, giving Sarah the space she needed while still being present. "What brings you here tonight?" Sarah hesitated, the weight of her fears solidifying around her. "I am scared," she finally whispered, the admission escaping like air from a slowly deflating balloon. "Understandable," he replied, nodding. "What is the source of that fear? Is it the idea of losing your baby?" She swallowed hard, the lump in her throat growing even more prominent. "I'm terrified I'm not enough for her. Every day feels like a battle I'm losing." "There's strength in vulnerability," he assured, his gaze unwavering. "And reaching out for help is one of the strongest things you can do." "But I've tried," Sarah choked out. "Every time I think I've got it, it slips away. Like sand through my fingers." The figure leaned forward, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Can I tell you something? You're not alone in this fight. It might feel overwhelming right now, but together, we can find a way through." Lucy, sitting quiet, nodded intently. "We'll support you. Just tell us what you need. We're not here to judge, but to help." Feeling the warmth of their support, something began to flicker in Sarah's heart, a tiny flame against the cold fears that had dominated her life. "I don't know if I can trust again," she murmured, looking down at her hands. "Trust is hard when you've been let down," the figure acknowledged. "But I'm not the enemy here. I'm just a person reaching out to help another. Start small." "I don't even know where to begin," she confessed, tears still glistening. "Let us start here and now," Lucy interjected gently, looking straight into Sarah's eyes. "What's one small thing you think you can change today that could bring a bit of peace?" Sarah pondered, feeling the weight of Lucy's encouragement. "Maybe I can. I can try to connect with mothers in a group I heard about." "That's a fantastic start," the figure exclaimed. "You're already thinking about taking a step forward. That alone shows strength." As they launched into a more in-depth conversation about resources, support groups, and holistic approaches to parenting, Sarah found herself beginning to breathe more easily. Ideas flowed like a stream, each suggestion flicking the lighter against her dwindling flame of hope. Still, uncertainty tugged at her mind. What would happen if she reached out, only to be rejected again. Just take it one moment at a time, the figure encouraged as if sensing her thoughts. And remember, any progress is still progress. In that moment, hope wove through the threadbare fabric of her heart, stitching together the frayed edges. Could it be possible? Was it within reach? Yet, just as a sense of calm started to settle over them, a loud crash echoed from outside, followed by urgent voices and escalating sirens. Fear rippled through Sarah once again, snatching away her newfound sense of security. "What is happening?" she cried, her head spinning back toward the window. "Stay here," Lucy insisted, her voice sharp with concern. "We need to stay focused. Don't let them take your hope." The three huddled together as the chaos outside reached a fever pitch, each of them drawing strength from the other as both fear and hope collided in the space around them. But outside, reflections of danger and uncertainty loomed as darkness edged nearer. Would they be able to hold on to their hard-fought hope, or was it about to be swept away? The sounds from the outside world grew sharper, slicing through the fragile barrier of safety they had built around themselves. The chaos felt alive, each siren and shout an unwelcome intrusion, a reminder of the reality lurking beyond their door. Sarah felt her heart rate quicken, panic rising like a tide, thrashing against the shore of her inner calm. "Shouldn't we do something?" Sarah's voice was shaky. She felt that old familiar pressure in her chest, the helplessness she had fought against for too long. "No," Lucy said firmly, still holding Sarah's hands, as if she could transfer strength through their connection. "This moment isn't ours to control. We need to center ourselves here. Remember why you're fighting." Sarah looked at the figure, hoping for some reassuring insight. What do we do if she trailed off, not wanting to voice her worst fears, but the uncertainty hung thick in the air? "We breathe. And we remember this is a temporary storm," he replied, his eyes steady and calm. "This noise is external. What matters is what is happening between us right now." Taking a deep breath, Sarah focused on the warmth of Lucy's hands, the solid presence of the man before her. Gradually, the frenetic energy outside became more of a distant backdrop, a storm she was learning to ride out rather than something that would consume her. "Can we talk about something else?" Lucy asked, a soothing lilt to her voice. "Let us keep the conversation going. We can still find joy in this moment, can't we?" Sarah nodded slowly, steeling herself against the unease churning within her. "Okay," she whispered, feeling like a fragile bird with wings newly unfurling. Maybe I can share a memory." "That's a wonderful idea," the man encouraged. "What is a happy memory related to your baby?" Sarah hesitated for a moment, sifting through her memories like grains of sand slipping through her hands. "There was this one time," she began, her voice catching slightly as she pushed against the shadows of fear. "I was in the garden. I felt her move for the first time. It was like a little flutter, a secret just between us. I hadn't expected it at all." A smile stretched across Sarah's face as she recalled the moment, the sun warm on her skin, the scent of blooming flowers surrounding her. They listened raptly, Lucy leaning closer, the figure nodding along. "What did you do next?" he urged, drawing Sarah further into the warmth of her recollection. "I sang," she admitted with a shy laugh. "I must have sounded silly, but it felt so right, like I was welcoming her into the world." "That's beautiful," Lucy said softly. "See how creating connection brings us more joy. Your bond is already so strong." Just as Sarah began to revel in the warmth of that shared happiness, the sound of glass shattering reverberated harshly outside. The brief spark of joy flickered, threatened by the abruptness that slammed against the moment. "Stay close," Lucy shouted, standing up, her protective instincts kicking in. The figure remained calm, eyes scanning the window. "Focus on your breath," he instructed, a sharp contrast to the turmoil outside. "The reality is we cannot control everything. But we can control how we respond." "I don't just want to survive this, I want to thrive," Sarah said, her voice strong and clear despite her racing heart. For her sake. I can't bring her into chaos. Lucy's eyes searched Sarah's, brimming with admiration. You already have that strength within you. This is just a chapter. You will write your story, no matter what happens. With mounting tension looming outside, Sarah clenched her fists, drawing as much resolve from that moment as she could. She leaned toward Lucy and the man, their presence a fortress against the raging storm. As the sirens surged and the cries grew louder, she felt a flicker of determination taking root in her chest. She had the power to write this next chapter, no matter how uncertain it felt. But just then, the door rattled violently. The noise felt like a physical presence, crashing against the fragile space they had built. Sarah's heart dropped as she exchanged a quick glance with Lucy and the figure. What now? Lucy whispered, fear etched upon her face. What comes next may change everything, the figure said, his expression transforming into something more serious. As the door swung inward, darkness swept into their sanctuary, holding secrets that none were prepared for. What they would face next felt like the edge of an unknown reality, and it was about to challenge everything they held dear. The door slammed open, sending a chill through the room. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, eyes locked on the shadow that filled the threshold. The world outside roared, but in that moment, time felt suspended. A figure stood there, silhouetted against the chaotic backdrop. Fear gripped Sarah's heart, but there was something else, too, a flicker of recognition. She squinted, searching for any detail that might provide comfort. Help, the stranger's voice wavered, nearly lost amid the clamor. Please, I need help. What's happening? Lucy was on her feet, her protective stance a stark contrast to the trembling figure at the door. The man stepped forward, assessing the situation, concern etched across his face. I was running from them. I thought I could find safety here, the stranger finished, desperation sparking in her eyes as she caught sight of Sarah's rounded belly. I didn't know it was a sanctuary. The weight of that word hung in the air. Sanctuary. They had wanted to create that, an oasis from the chaos beyond, but how could they offer refuge when danger threatened to spill inside? Are you hurt? Sarah managed to speak, her voice shaking. No, just scared. They're looking for anyone who might cause trouble. The stranger's breath hitched as she leaned against the doorframe, her posture deflated. The figure shifted closer to her, calming yet commanding. Can you tell us why they're after you? I saw something I shouldn't have. I didn't mean to, but the stranger looked down, shame layering over her features. I can't let them find me. I can't go back. Lucy glanced at Sarah, her expression a mixture of sympathy and resolve. We're not abandoning you, she said steadily. But we need a plan. Staying in the open is dangerous right now. A tremor slid through Sarah's features. What do we do? She asked, feeling the walls closing in. We have to decide, the figure said, voice firm. We can either let her in and protect her, or push her away and risk not knowing what they might do. Sarah felt the weight of that choice resting heavily on her heart. Could she really bring this stranger into their tender moment, their sanctuary? What would it mean for her, for the baby? Chaos and tranquility clashed violently in her mind. Please, the stranger urged, her eyes shimmering. I just need a place to hide. Just for a little while. You can't imagine what they'll do. Outside, the sirens pierced her thoughts, growing louder. A roar that felt alive, hungry, poised to consume everything. Sarah exhaled, the decision tumbling into her heart like a stone splashing into a lake. She can stay, she declared, feeling an unexpected strength along her spine, like a fire igniting. We can't turn her away. Not now. Lucy's eyes widened, a flood of admiration washing over her face. Are you sure? Yes. It's the right thing to do, and maybe it could help us understand the storm outside. The figure's face softened, tears glinting as Sarah stepped forward. You're safe here, for now. Just then, a loud thud erupted against the wall outside, followed by frantic shouting. The moment stretched, the irony wasn't lost on them all. They had opened their hearts to one storm while the other closed in. "Quick!" Lucy directed. "Let us find somewhere safe for her." Before they could move, there was a sudden blaring of voices. "Stay where you are." A second set of footsteps echoed, heavy and threatening. Sarah's heart hammered. The storm wasn't just outside anymore, it was closing in around them. "This is it," the figure said softly, her voice trembling. "Isn't it?" Had Sarah just let the darken in? As the walls pressed in tighter, she traded glances with Lucy, both feeling the urgency in the air. A scream pierced through the chaos, a chilling reminder that safety was a fragile thing. With her heart pounding in her throat, Sarah's eyes darted to the door, realizing it was now a barrier against both their fears and their hope. Did they have what it took to shield themselves from the incoming tide? The answer felt precariously out of reach as they braced for whatever was about to unravel. The jarring shouts outside filled the small room, each word laced with urgency and threat. Sarah's heart raced as she and Lucy exchanged a quick glance, their silent communication crystal clear. They had chosen to open their door to the storm, and now they stood on the precipice of a decision that felt monumental. "Where do we go?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely above the clamor outside. The pregnant woman's protective instincts surged. She could feel the baby moving inside her, sensing the tension and fear in the environment. "The basement." Lucy surged into action, her confidence a bomb against the rising panic. "We can hide her there until things settle down." "But what if they find us?" The stranger voiced the worry that clung in the back of Sarah's mind. "They'll search everywhere, we can't think like that." Lucy snapped, but her tone softened as she turned to the newcomer. "You're safe with us, okay? We'll figure this out together." Taking a breath, Sarah stepped forward, her instincts pulling her to the stranger. "What's your name?" "Emma," the woman replied, her eyes glistening with unspent tears. "All right, Emma. We're with you. Just follow us," Sarah said, her own anxiety morphing into a fierce need to protect. The three of them edged cautiously towards the narrow staircase that led to the basement, each creaking step echoing like a countdown. Time felt heavy, every second dragging with the weight of their decision. As they approached the door to the dimly lit space below, a series of shouts splintered through the air, louder than before. "Stop! We know you're in there." Lucy's hand gripped Sarah's shoulder, squeezing tightly as they paused at the threshold. "We have to go now," Sarah urged, pushing the door open. The darkness beckoned, a refuge from the chaos. They stumbled down the stairs, the musty scent of damp wood wrapping around them like a cloak. When they reached the bottom, Lucy flicked on a small flashlight, its beam cutting through the shadows like a lifeline. Dust floated in the air, dimly illuminated, and Sarah felt a fleeting sense of comfort. "Sit here," Lucy instructed, ushering Emma into a corner where a stack of old boxes was piled haphazardly. "Stay quiet, and we'll figure out what they want." Emma nodded, but the hint of guilt clouded her features. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this, it's not your fight." Sarah shook her head. "This is not just your fight. It's about all of us now." They settled into silence, the sounds of their breathing the only rhythm against the backdrop of muffled chaos above. Outside, the threats continued, piercing the stillness and pulling their thoughts tightly to the present. Suddenly, footsteps invaded the silence, shuffling above them like heavy clouds gathering for a storm. A voice boomed, cold and commanding, "We know you're in there. You have nowhere to hide." Every beat of Sarah's heart felt like a drum echoing against the damp walls of their sanctuary. "This can't be happening," Emma whispered, panic rippling in her voice. "What if they find us?" "Then we'll fight," Lucy affirmed, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We're not letting fear dictate our lives. Not now, not ever." But as they huddled together, the ground beneath them seemed to quake with the weight of an unseen threat. It felt as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for a spark to ignite the tension. With every failing light and inching sound from above, Sarah wondered if they could truly emerge unscathed from this nightmare. Would their bond hold strong in the wake of chaos? And in that moment of uncertainty, footsteps thudded even closer, the air thickening. "Are they coming down?" Sarah whispered, a chill creeping up her back. As the basement door creaked in a menacing way and knowledge began to settle in, a burning question loomed in her mind. Would they stand together, or would they crumble to the storm? The basement door creaked ominously as shadows danced along the walls, each sound striking like a thunderclap within the fragile sanctuary they had created. Fear gripped Sarah's heart, sinking deep into her. All her hopes of building a safe place were unraveling like fraying threads. Could they truly guard against the storm at their door? Emma rocked back and forth in the corner, lost in her thoughts, while Lucy stood tall, a beacon of courage amidst the encroaching darkness. "We need to think fast," Lucy urged, her voice steady yet urgent. "We can't let them see us like this." "Maybe we can distract them," Sarah suggested, her mind racing, unwilling to surrender to despair. "If I go upstairs and pretend I'm alone, they might focus on me." "Are you out of your mind?" Lucy shot back, her brow furrowing. "You can't put yourself at risk." "It's our best chance," Sarah protested, determination flaring in her eyes. "You have to protect Emma. I can't let them take her or you. I'll keep them talking while you both find somewhere even safer." But what if Emma hesitated, fear etched in her features, her eyes darting between the two? "We'll figure this out," Lucy promised, her heart racing. "Whatever happens, we're in this together." As they huddled close, one heartbeat pulsing through their ragged breaths, Sarah felt unexpectedly powerful. The flickering light of the flashlight reflected off Emma's tear-streaked face, illuminating the fragile hope that danced on the brink of chaos. With a determined nod, Sarah turned toward the narrow staircase leading back to their reality above. Silence hung like a heavy curtain as she stepped lightly, each footfall a heartbeat. Then, she reached for the doorknob, breath hitching in her throat as she contemplated the weight of her decision. "Stay safe," she whispered back to Lucy and Emma, steeling herself for what lay ahead. With a swift motion, she flung the door open, stepping bravely into the chaos swirling outside. The light and commotion washed over her, but instead of fear, renewed resolve surged through her veins. The voices overhead floated closer, urgency filling the air. "We know you're in there." A voice called again, anger tinging each syllable. Sarah's heart thumped wildly, but she held her chin high. "Hey! I'm here!" She shouted into the tempest, drawing the attention of the figures crowding at the top of the stairs. The world blurred in a haze of uncertainty, her mind racing, but she remained steadfast. "What do you want?" "I'm just trying to keep us safe." From the shadows emerged a large man, fear mingled with authority on his face. She could see it, the storm reflected in his eyes, just like hers. "We have to check on the welfare of all the occupants. This is for your good." Her courage wavered for a brief moment, but she didn't allow it to consume her. "My good is knowing that I'm safe. What's really happening here? You're not here to help." Voices resonated in confusion. Sarah took a step closer, anchoring herself against the welling tide of uncertainty. "You think you're serving justice," she challenged, "but I'm the one here battling for my life and my child's life." The murmurs grew among the shadows, casting doubt into the crowd. "We can help." One voice piped up, sounding oddly hopeful amid the agitation. "You don't know what I need," she shot back, the passion swelling in her chest. "Trust has been taken from me, just like so many others. But I'm not allowing anyone else to decide my fate." The words tumbled forth, a spill of raw honesty and strength. Silence enveloped the group, the authority of her emotions taking others aback. "Are you pregnant?" Another figure asked, a gentler voice cutting through the tension. "Yes." Sarah replied, her throat tightening, but there was a flicker of connection there. "I deserve to be heard," just like everyone else. My life matters, and so does my baby's. As if struck by enlightenment, the atmosphere shifted. Into the doorway stepped a woman in the back, her calm demeanor contrasting sharply against the surprise that rippled through the crowd gathered. "Let her speak," she advised. Her voice soft yet grounded, earning the attention of her fellow figures. "Why are you treating this woman as if she's a suspect instead of a person?" she continued, standing tall and unwavering. Sarah's heart swelled at that additional strength beside her, a shared resolve that brought light into their darkness. "And what do you think we need to do?" The directive voice chimed in, revealing reluctance but a hint of respect weaving through their words. "If you want to help, listen to her story. Trust that she wants a brighter future like all of us." The woman stepped further into the light, grounding the chaotic energy surrounding them. "Empower her rather than scare her." In that moment, words shifted, the dynamic of oppression morphing into support. Sarah felt the bravery of the women around her wrap tenderness around her like a protective blanket, a warm cocoon forged in solidarity. "Will you?" Sarah whispered, a quiet vulnerability breaking through the tension as she locked eyes with them. The men hesitated, caught between their previous assumptions and her fierce spirit. "We can work together," the newcomer said firmly. "But you must trust us too. We want to ensure you and your child are safe." "I can trust you, but you have to understand my fear," Sarah replied, her heart pounding with possibilities. "I want to let the shadows of my past dictate my future." Deep breaths filled the space as they began to find common ground, shared fears, shared hopes. The tides of chaos receded, and instead of a storm, a new horizon broke the surface. As Sarah felt the unity fold around her, the shadows that had once seemed insurmountable pulled back just a little more, revealing rays of light that punctured the darkness. Suddenly, the basement door creaked open silently behind her. Lucy and Emma stepped forward from their hiding place, steadying themselves at Sarah's side. Together, Lucy asserted, radiating courage, wrapping her arms around Sarah. "We've made it this far, and we won't stop now." Empowered, Sarah nodded, understanding that the bonds forged in the stinging heat of adversity had the strength to change everything. "Will you listen?" Sarah asked, her voice softer now but imbued with fierce warmth. "Will you help us create a better tomorrow?" One by one, the faces surrounding her began to soften, the have-nots transforming into the collective we, together navigating their stories. That night, amidst sirens that had once felt threatening, new voices began to echo through their fragile world. A melody of hope emerged, one that promised resilience and connection, an anthem against the storm. As Sarah looked down at her cradling belly, connection blossomed, hope igniting in her chest. Perhaps they would endure together, fighting for the future, intertwining paths lighting the way ahead. And in that moment, she realized stories never truly end, they live on in the hearts of those who dare to forge connections, to fight for change, and to hold on to love even in the darkest of times. As dawn broke on the horizon, with new possibilities shimmering in the morning light, Sarah, Lucy, and Emma stood together, ready to embrace whatever came next. And they would. Side by side, united in their courage, forging a path towards a future bursting with promise. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the adventures. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this uplifting ending. We want to hear your thoughts. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformative journey. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand how vital your engagement is.